Happy Monday, everyone. Wow, what a weekend. What an insane madness, crazy weekend we had between March Madness and just March Madness, to be quite honest. I'm still trying to recuperate from the weekend. My Tar Heels gave me such a scare that I think I'm still in recovery and counseling from them just handing the game over and just almost blowing it. At one point, as we're watching it, Chris had came home and we just said, get out of the house, like get out. We're so superstitious, get out of the house. And then they started winning again. So we're like, thank goodness, get out of the house. But yeah, we had, last night, Arizona, there was just pure mayhem with March Madness right now. And so it's really crazy, awesome, fun times. So yeah, still a little bit trying to get the heart rate under control right now from March Madness. It's been St. Peter's, man, just Cinderella's dancing everywhere, glass slippers. It's been just awesome, to be quite honest. But yeah, back bracket is, I think it's hanging in by like a little tiny thread at this point. It's not doing so great. Some of the upsets I don't, and then some of the other ones are like, no, there's not a chance in hell. I saw the other ones coming. So it's all fun and games at the end of the day, just having a lot of fun with it. But Tar Heels are hanging in there. Hopefully for another round. I've got them in going for one more round, and then realistically, I didn't see them going any further than that. So they do. I'm all for it. I'm okay if I lose that one. So I think in our pool, I have not even looked this morning, but I feel it. Yeah. So we'll see. But anyways, hope your bracket is hanging in as well as possible and is not just completely combusted into flames and fly, in a trash can flying, just nastiness and caught on fire somewhere. So so excited to be here as always. Hope you all are having a wonderful start to your week and you're going to have an awesome rest of your week. I hope you all had a chance to catch Candice Lowe. She comes with just, as always, as I said on Friday, just so much knowledge and is always so willing to share that knowledge. As one of the many reasons why I love her and love speaking with her. She was just bringing all sorts of knowledge to share and to help others and to assist others and to always move this industry forward. And that's what I love about her. One of the many things I love about her. Couple of key takeaways from that, from our chat on Friday. One, what is your strategy? First and foremost, before you go anywhere else and what you decide, hey, I want to bring on this product, or I want to do this, or I want to, whatever the hell you're thinking, what is your strategy? Because you can bring in this tool, you can bring in that tool, you can bring in this person, I can hire this person, I can do whatever. What is your strategy? Because if you don't know first and foremost what the foundation is, you're not going to go anywhere, because then you're going to have a crack in the foundation and you are screwed. So what is your strategy? And then build from there. The other thing I really liked with her was personalization. And if you've either listened to her speak or listened to her train you, or you've listened to me train you or listened to me speak, you know that I am all about personalization. It was back in I think it was, I'm going to say at least 5 years ago, that the stat came out that 80% of people will buy from a company that personalizes the experience. And that it was like $2.9 trillion, I want to say, that it costs a company if they don't personalize the experience. Look at Amazon. We all go back to Amazon and how they personalize the experience, right? If I go on there and I'm looking at my Yeti right here, and I look at that, the next time I go on there, it's going to have the Yeti up there. If I then go look at this Yeti and I'm looking at this Yeti, it's going to give me that Yeti. They're two different things, same name, but that's going to personalize the experience of what I'm looking at that time. The next time I go on there, it's going to show that, right? So personalize an experience every single time. So take your templates and light them on fire. Get rid of them, personalize the experience. Let the customer know that you are a human being. I know that, oh my gosh, Brooke, that just takes so much time. We can't do that. Yes, you can. Because you're going to sell more cars and you're going to sell at a higher gross profit. Yes, you can. And the quote that I took from her that I loved, I actually told her on the show beforehand. And as we went through it, I just go, I love that. And I'm going to take it from you. I will give you credit for it, but I'm 100% taking that from you, is treat a question from a customer like a question from your wife or your mother. They already know the answer. They're just going to see if you're going to lie to them. Plain and simple. So when someone asks you a question, whether it's about price or whatever the question is, they already know the answer. Are you going to lie to them? Are you? Are you? So when you have that mentality, I think it really does change how you perceive and how you progress and you proceed in your interactions with your customer and your consumers. It makes a really, really big difference, because I know back when you would mystery shop stores and it was the old school way of doing it, of, hey, I'm going to send in the lead. I already knew what I was looking for. Like, I knew the answer, and the answer for which I was looking, I knew it. I was really seeing, are you going to answer it? Are you going to answer me correctly? Because I know if you're not, that's a little check mark next to your name. Because at the end of the day, I'm just seeing, are you going to answer me? And are you going to answer me correctly? If you just skirt around the issue, or you skirt around the price issue, or you skirt around this, or you just send me a stupid autoresponder, you've lost me. And if it's a mystery shop, in the old school days of mystery shops, you've just lost everything. Now, the new way of doing things, you're just going through, and obviously we don't do mystery shops, or you shouldn't be doing mystery shops, the old school way of doing things, but just answer the customer. Answer like a human being. Don't be a robot. So those are my really, really big 3 takeaways from her. And I cannot thank Candice enough. And obviously she's got her whole side gig, which is just phenomenal what she does. And there's, supporting such a great cause. So big shout out to Candice Lowe. Thank you so much for being on the show. This week, I am so lucky and blessed to have on this week, Dan Moore. So as Dan's say the phrase of more of Dan, I'm very, very excited to have more of Dan on the show. For those that don't know Dan, he's an author, he's a TEDx speaker, and by the way, he's also the president of Vistadash. So anyone that's watched the show this far has heard me speak about Vistadash. Vistadash also partners with Car Wars, which the parent company is Callbox. You know how passionate I am about analytics and taking the curtain down, open it up and saying, okay, here's what's really going on. Here's what it is, and how much I love Vistadash. And it's not, the reason I love it so much is because you're able to see everything all in one place. That being able to, okay, go pull this report from here, pull this report from here. All right, now I got to go look for this. It does everything. And so I am such a huge advocate of Vistadash, and then having Car Wars come in and having them partner up is same thing. Being able to pull this report, I can now see sales, service, and parts. And with the new FreeMake, be able to see everything all in one place. Their tools are phenomenal. So I'm so excited to have Dan on this Friday. Yes, he's the president of Vistadash. Yes, that is just one of the many, many things that Dan does. He is such a very, very busy individual and such an incredible human being. What he has done, not just for this industry, but for this world, is, I don't think you can really put that into a box, what Dan has done and continues to do. So you do not want to miss this episode. Like I said, he just comes with just so much to give, and so much such a willingness to help anybody, and willingness to help, hey, let's move this industry forward. Let's help this person. Like I said, you definitely check out his book. He's a TEDx speaker. So when all else fails, like, hey, I don't want to hear from another vendor. I don't want to hear from another car person. This is the person who he takes it one step further on how I can better this world and better myself as a human being. So really, really excited for you all to hear from Dan and listen to Dan and personally learn from Dan. Like, every time I talk to him, like I said, I learned from him as we're going through and talking. I was like, oh yeah, I'm actually going to steal that quote from you as well, Dan. So thank you so much, Dan, and for being on the show this Friday. And like I said, I'm really excited for you all to learn and to grow from him, to be quite honest. So as we look at this week and look at this, March Madness and all the craziness, and circling back to some of the things that Candice said a little bit, and strategy, and some of the things that Dan and I are going to be talking about on Friday, it got me thinking a little bit about just checking in constantly with not just your metrics and your team, but in life in general. So as we go about life and we go about what we do in this industry, if we're not constantly checking in to say, okay, are we on the right path? Are we checking the right metrics? Are we doing the right thing? How we can get off course? Because if you have, you're looking at your compass and we're going, we want to go north, If we just stop looking at that and then think, oh, well, we're going to get there. Are we really, truly going to get to our destination? No, we're not. Before I moved out to Chicago, I lived about everywhere, but I lived at a place where I could actually, cut the grass, and I loved cutting the grass. Got kind of a little crazy. I'd put different designs in the grass. I'm a huge Yankees fan, and so I'd put like the Yankees emblem in the grass. Got all these different designs in the grass. But I always knew when you line up, you have to have a point that you look at and have to look at that point and keep going. Otherwise you'd go off track. It's the same thing with, if you're not that I'm a pilot, but you always have to, as a pilot, if they get off even like a degree, their course of where they're going is greatly skewed. So you're not constantly checking to say, hey, are we on the right path? Are we going in the right direction? Hey team, are we going in the right direction? Things can get greatly skewed and you can end up in Zimbabwe versus Alaska. There's a big difference here, right? So as we all know, I was in Florida and Disneyland not too long ago, and we were taking in, it was like a stunt, really cool, like Indiana Jones stunt, how they do stunts and what have you. And maybe like midway through, I mean, they're constantly checking in with the stunt actors and the stunt performers and saying, okay, how are things going? Checking in with all the different players at hands. And I used to work with Broadway shows, and the same thing, if you're checking in, how are things going, blah, blah, check, blah, blah, blah. And midway through, there's just silence. And the rest of us all in the stands are like, what the hell's going on? Like we weren't sure what was going on. And they called everything off. And they just said, due to some difficulties and there's been some rain. So, fourth way through, they called off one of the stunts that was, because it had been raining in Florida, that they said, it's just too dangerous. We're not going to put anybody in harm's way, that we're not going to climb the walls. And so we're not going to do that. I'm like, okay, that makes sense, right? Okay. And then, like I said, halfway through, they called off everything because they were having technical glitches. Now, if they hadn't been constantly checking all the way through with every single bit, every single aspect of everything they do, they could have put someone's life in danger. Now, are we going to put someone's life in danger in selling a car? Maybe not. Maybe in the service lane, yeah, 100%. And so maybe not so much someone's life in danger. If you sell a car that hasn't been checked, then yes, but maybe not so much. But constantly checking in with your team and saying, hey, how you doing? Are things going well? Hey, are we training you correctly? Constantly checking in, and whether that's in the training aspect, whether that's metrics, are we checking the right metrics? Are things good? Because if we start veering off and just for a second, let our guard down and not check in and not look at this and strategize this, because 10 years ago, we might've been checking this metric, but we don't need to check that metric. We go back to Blockbuster. Was Blockbuster constantly checking in when Netflix was coming up the ranks? Well, they're just selling DVDs and that's not a big deal. It's just video games. Probably should have been looking over their shoulder a little bit, right? But no, they weren't. And you look at all these other, businesses that went out because they weren't strategizing. They weren't constantly checking in. They weren't looking over their shoulder. So looking at especially now in this Great Resignation, are we constantly checking in with our employees and saying, how are you doing? Are things okay? Are we doing all right? So when it comes to metrics, and Dan and I don't want to spoil what we're getting into with Dan, but checking in with your metrics. Are we doing okay? Are we going in the right direction? Do we need to make a turn? Are they still doing okay? As we've talked in past episodes with Sarah, hey, I know we're on a 30-day cycle with the OEM, but it's more like a 90 days. So how are we doing with that? Do we need to change anything? Do we not? Is the data we're looking at, does it even make any sense? Are we drawing comparisons that make absolutely no sense at all? And we'll talk about that a little bit more on Friday as well. But just once again, checking in to say, do we need to completely abort what we're doing because someone's going to get hurt? Whether that's, metaphorically or not, do we need to abort it? So going back to strategizing, and there's so much going on. We have outside forces. They're telling us to do X, and we have inside forces to say, that's probably not the best for the consumer experience, but do we really have a say in it anymore? So looking at these and saying, what's the best course for us and for our consumer experience? People like Brian Kramer, who is constantly disrupting the industry in a very incredible way, and huge shout out to Brian Kramer, saying, you know what, I'm going to do this with our industry, and I'm going to take the metaverse and go this direction. I mean, he's now making the first transaction in the metaverse. I mean, that's incredible. And I guarantee as he goes through, he's constantly checking in with his team and all of his teammates and all of his managers and his salespeople, and saying, hey, how's this working? Consumer, how's this working for you? And as he goes through, all of his metrics are standardized, and he's saying, all right, is this working? How's the consumer experience? How is my morale? How's everything across the board? So bottom line, constantly check in. Make sure at any point, do I need to abort this? Do I need to continue this? Do I need to improve this? And check in. Please check in with your employees, with your consumer, with your metrics, and check the right stuff. Make sure your reporting doesn't suck. Bottom line, if your reporting sucks, everything else sucks. Your customer experience sucks, because if you can't measure anything, your reporting sucks. So that is my soapbox for today. I can't wait for you all to listen to Dan Moore, and do not miss it. If you get tired of hearing listen to me speak, listen to Dan. He is well worth the listen. So cannot wait for you all to hear him on Friday. You can catch him as always on any platform, whether that's YouTube, however you're catching this, however you're digesting this, whether that's YouTube, any platform with podcasts, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, wherever you're getting it, listen to it there. And as always, be kind to everyone. You never know what a kind smile is going to do to someone. At helping hand down to someone. So many times we put on the facade that we're doing okay, we're doing all right, everything's awesome, and it's not. So reach out, make that phone call, make that text, whatever it is. If that little voice inside of you saying, hey, I think I need to make that phone call, just do it. Just do it. And if you're liking the content, as always, subscribe, comment, share. There's something else you want to hear. If there's someone you're saying that would be great on the show, let me know. Let me know. And everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day, and may your brackets not be up in flames. All right, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.